Imagine standing on the edge of a new beginning, knowing that everything you've wanted is on the other side, but also feeling that familiar tug of doubt, that voice that whispers in your ear, what if I don't make it? If you felt this, you're not alone. So many of us, including myself, have felt this at some point in our life. We all have doubts and we all fear the unknown. So, welcome back. I'm Deborah Blosnich, and this is Debbie Sadify. And I'm today we're going to address all the doubts and the fears that we have around reaching those goals that seem so unfamiliar. We're going to talk about the opportunities for growth, because whenever we have a fear and it kind of stops us, what we're going to learn today is that that is actually a great place to start. So face your fear, accept your future that you're looking for, because it's going to come real once we give you some of the tools and the understanding of how to move through them with confidence. Okay.
Hey, thanks, Deb. What a great intro. This is such an amazing and important topic. And I want to start by acknowledging something that's really important. Our doubts are actually a natural part of any growth process. And when we're on the brink of change, it's completely normal to feel uncertain. And you might be thinking, well, what if I don't have the time? What if it's too hard? And a big one, what if I fail? Oh my God, that was a big one for me. And these questions are what almost everyone will face at some point. But it's really crucial to understand that these doubts are often a reflection of our fear of the unknown. We're going into new territory, and our minds are wired to seek comfort and familiarity. So when we step outside of that comfort zone, our natural instinct is to pull back and question whether we're making the right choice. But here's the thing: doubt isn't a sign of something being wrong. In fact, it can be a sign that you actually are on the right path. And I know that doesn't seem like it makes sense, but our human experience is really about growth and contribution. And if we're not growing, then we're shrinking. And those doubts, they're actually a sign that you are about to grow beyond what you've known. And the key is not to let those doubts stop you, but to see them as a natural part of the process and move forward anyway. Okay, that can be pretty hard. Now, if you want to think of it like climbing a mountain, you don't start climbing the mountain when you're halfway up the mountain. You got to start at the beginning, and you start from where you are today. And growth doesn't happen all at once. It's not like you push a button and you leap from the bottom of the mountain to the top of the mountain. There's this thing you have to do called putting one foot in front of the other, and slowly and steadily you make change. And as you climb, your nervous system, and as you adjust to new things in your life, your nervous system also adjusts to each new level that you're at. And it won't give you something that you cannot handle. And so, even though it feels difficult or it feels uncomfortable, it's going to feel that way. Know that you are capable of taking that next step. And if you're not happy with your current trajectory, then there's only one thing to do, and that is to embrace that discomfort and push yourself to grow. After all, you've probably heard the definition of insanity by now, but I'm going to tell you it anyway. The definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over again and expecting different results. And if we want something different, we have to be willing to make the changes and to stretch to what feels beyond what feels familiar. And it's like planting the seeds. We talk about this garden and planting the seeds, and we talk about it all the time because we always feel this way, that it may feel like nothing is happening at first. There's uncertainty, there's doubts, and so much patience is required. But underneath the surface, growth is happening. Those seeds are developing roots, and eventually they will push through the soil. And your journey is much the same way. Those doubts are part of the process, but they don't define your outcome. And the key is to keep growing, keep contributing, and trust that you are on the right path. And being on the right path, one of the things I talked about is the fear of failure. It's a big one. Deb, what can you tell us about that fear of failure?
Well, Debbie, first of all, you made some excellent points there. And as far as that fear stopping us, right? I actually read a quote today and I was like, exactly, this is how I feel. Sometimes it says like if you're afraid to do it, it's actually a sign that you should probably do it because it's great to face your fears. How many things in your life were you afraid to do before, right? But you decided to take on the challenge or the task and you did it. And when you achieved it, you were like, oh my gosh, that wasn't as bad as I thought. And I actually did it. So you gained some confidence in your ability to do the hard things, right? So um, I absolutely love that. So remember that if you're afraid to do it, it probably means you should do it. Obviously, within the restraints of actual safety and not harming others, right? Like these kind of go without saying, though. We're just talking about making ourselves better. So with that being said, one of the biggest failures we do have is the fear of failure, right? We have doubts. We feel like, what if I can't do this thing, right? And it's an excellent question to ask yourself, actually, I think. And what if you invest the time? What if you invest the money? What if you invest your emotions into achieving something and it doesn't turn out the way exactly that you had planned? Well, the good news is there's a win in there. First of all, when you do that, right, and you take on the challenge, whether you actually make it at this attempt or not, you will never be the person that you were before you started to take those steps. So, although you may not reach the goal, you're going to learn some lessons. You're going to learn some new things about yourself. You are going to gain some skills and some knowledge. So, those are all wins. But if you let those thoughts keep rolling in your head and you don't take the step, then you will always be stuck in that cycle of just stuck where you are, not happy with the way things are, and you won't take the steps because you're letting the fear control you. So, like I was saying, if you let the feel, oh my gosh, let the failure fuel you, right? Like not let the failure fuel you, but let the failure teach you the lesson that it needs to teach you. Become the person that takes the steps, have the courage to try, because in the trying, you become somebody new and you will grow stronger. You'll gain the insight, right? And it's all part of the journey because failure is not the opposite of success. The opposite of success is not trying. That's the only way you can't succeed, like at all. And it's the only way you won't grow is if you don't try at all. So think about all of the amazing things that have ever happened in the world, right? Somebody had to try something. And if they'd have, let's take the Wright brothers, right? If they're like, we're going to build an airplane, and they tried and they crashed and they went, well, I guess that doesn't work. We're done. Where would we be? If the people building vehicles, right? What if they tried to build a vehicle and tried to make it go and it didn't work the first time? You're like, oh, I guess that doesn't work. So we won't do it, right? The point here is all great accomplishments take a few things that we can all develop, and those are the willingness to try, so the courage to fail, the persistence to stick with it, and just keep going, right? Because each failure is a stepping stone that takes you closer. Think back on a time when you wanted to accomplish something. Okay. I'm pretty sure we can all think of something that when we initially thought, I'm going to do this, we were like, ah, that's a lot though. I'm not sure. How am I going to do this? Or you started something and then you got in the thick of it and you thought, how am I going to finish this? Right. But you didn't quit. You stuck with it. And the result is you did accomplish your goal. You became a different person. You could never go back to who you were before you had this skills, this knowledge, and this confidence in whatever area of your life that you did follow through with. So it's about continuing to show up. It's about learning and growing no matter what. If you set your sight on that and you focus on it, you won't let anything stop you. So don't let your fears stop you. And as Debbie said, there are a couple other things that might stop you. One of them is time. So, Debbie, what do I do if I'm like, I don't have the time to do this? I want to do it with all my heart. I know I could do it. There's just no way I could devote the time to it. What would you say to that?
Oh my gosh, you're singing my song. It's definitely another common concern besides the fear of failure. My gosh, I have all of these. I've had them in my life.
You are not alone.
And I don't have time. You know, life is busy. We're juggling work, family responsibilities, other responsibilities, and it can be really overwhelming to add something new to the mix. And I hear this all the time. Oh, I don't have time. I don't have time. And sometimes it's warranted, but let's take a step back and look at it from a different perspective. Time is one of our most precious resources. We actually don't know how much time we have, and how we choose to spend it reflects our priorities. And when we say we don't have time, what we're really saying is that something else is taking priority in our lives. But what if you reframed that and you looked at, what if you could see investing in yourself, not just another task on your to-do list, but as something that actually makes everything else in your life easier and more fulfilling? What if? You know, I've been there. Oh my gosh. I remember at work having piles of tasks. My to-do list was, I could never get to the bottom. I don't think I ever got to the bottom of my to-do list until I finally retired. And my tactic was to get the easy things, the quick things, those familiar things out of the way so I could concentrate on the stuff that was going to take time, that I needed to dig into, that was harder. And the problem was I never got to the end of the easy stuff. So I was constantly pushing the hard, more important stuff to the side until it became a crisis. And, you don't want to do that with your personal development. That's my job. And I was putting it ahead of me. My gosh, probably not a good thing to do. It's like using a GPS. If you don't stop to program the GPS, you're just guessing where you're going. But if you take the time to program it and you follow the best route, you may save yourself a ton of time in the end. And it's a reward that you don't see when you're starting out. You don't see it. And personal growth works the same way. Investing just a little bit of time to focus on your path now can save you so much time, so much stress, and so much energy later on. And I also want to leave you with another example. And that is, sometimes we have a chance to learn something, take a course, maybe do something. I mean, this is something that I recently got out of my own way about. Learning a software tool, or some, now we've got lots of AI, learning about AI so that I can make my life more efficient and I can work more efficiently. But what if you're so busy that you don't take the time to learn it? And as a result, you end up wasting so much more time doing things the hard way. And it's this classic case of being too busy to actually take the time to become more efficient. But if we take that time to invest in those tools, we end up saving time and energy in the long run. And when you commit to your own personal growth, you're not just improving one area of your life, you are creating a ripple effect that impacts everything. You become more focused, more energized, and more aligned to your true purpose. And with that alignment, it makes you more effective in everything else that you do. So instead of asking, do I have time for this? Ask yourself, can I afford not to make the time for this? And when you are investing in yourself, you're investing in a better, more fulfilled version of you, one that can handle life's demands with greater ease and clarity. And I think that's an investment that pays off in every area of our life. So it's not about, do I have time, but can I afford not to make the time? It's really important. And I know when we're talking about affording things, oh, here comes the last one, the cost. Yeah, this one comes up
Absolutely.
all the time, Deb.
Absolutely, right? How many times have we told ourselves, like, I really want to, um, whatever it is, right? Like, oh, I'd love to get in shape, but I can't afford a gym membership. I'd love to take a vacation, but when I have the time to do it, I don't have the money, right? And I know these are things that I have said many times in my past. When I have the time, I don't have the money. When I have the money, I don't have the time. So, but the real question comes down to this, right? And tonight we're basically talking about the cost of investing in your own personal transformation. And I know many of us say, like, is it worth it? Just like the gym membership, though. Is it worth it to pay for the gym membership? Is it worth it to pay for a personal transformation and invest in yourself? The real question you have to ask yourself is, like, what does it cost you not to invest in yourself? What what happens if you've tried doing things differently, but the change doesn't stick? Or if you just can't even figure out, like, I know something needs to change, but I don't know what. And I know for myself, that was something like I had an idea of what needed to change. But what I found out on the journey was I had so many limiting beliefs and so many other hidden things happening in my world and in my mind that I wasn't aware of. And so when you do invest in a personal transformation program such as EMF, there's guidance for people who have done it before. And ultimately, in the end, you do have to make an investment to make the change because you need someone to say, here, let me help you explore those areas that you want to change. What part of your life could you benefit from a transformation? And as Debbie said, it's not like you might want to, like, you might feel great in all areas of your life, right? But you might be like, I sure wish that my finances were better. The amazing thing about that, though, is if you could find a way to fix your finances and whatever that means for you. Oh, I only made $2 million this year. I'd like to make 5 million this year. What difference would that make for you, right? But what's going to happen is as you figure out how to make that 5 million this year instead of the 2 million, or the $100,000 this year instead of the $50,000 this year, or you just figure out how to budget the 50,000 that you do have, what happens is it has a ripple effect. You get a grip on your finances, and all of a sudden your relationships are better. You get a grip on your finances, your relationships are better, and now you're feeling more alive. You're feeling more vital. You are taking care of yourself better, and your health improves. So it does have that ripple effect. So, what would it be worth for you to feel more alive, more connected, more in tune with who you really are? Because that's what we're talking about here when we're talking about a personal transformation. It's kind of like doing a deep dive and discovering who you are and what you really want out of life. So, an investment in yourself is one of the most valuable commitments that you can make. And we keep saying this, like you have to, before you can love others, before you can serve others, including your children and your family, you have to be loving yourself and you have to be respecting yourself and your needs. Um, and when you do that, the returns that are tangible and intangible, which means um, outwardly, things will look different, and inwardly, you will feel completely different when if you would choose to make this investment in yourself. So remember, transformation is not a one-time event. You don't like go read a book, watch a movie, have a chat with someone, and poof, the next day your whole life has changed. You could have a change in thoughts though, and gradually it will create a huge change in your life. So the tools, the insights, and the growth that you gain from this program will continue to serve you for the rest of your life. And that's the real value, something that pays dividends for years to come. So,
Yeah. And I
yeah,
love what you said because it resonates so well because um, when you yourself need help. I mean, all of us need help from outside of ourselves because
yeah,
we can't see what's going on. It's like, seeing the forest through the trees. When you're in the forest, which you are when you're yourself, you can't see what's going on. And, there's other times when you see your friends or other people, and you can see clearly what the issue is, but you can't for yourself because you're just so deep in it. And it's so important to make that investment, whether it's the time, the money, or whatever it is. And as we wrap up today's session, we want to leave you with this thought. Doubts and concerns are a natural part of the transformation process. They don't have to stop you. In fact, they can be the very things that propel you forward. And if you're willing to face them, question them, and move through them with courage and confidence, you will see big rewards. And if today's conversation is resonating with you, if you found yourself nodding along and thinking, yeah, that's exactly what I've been feeling, then we invite you to take the next step with us. Our EMF Foundations Plus program is designed to help you move past these doubts, to overcome the obstacles that are holding you back, and to step into a life that you truly desire.
absolutely. So, and this program isn't just about talking about surface level issues, it's about creating deep and lasting transformation. It's about digging in, finding those patterns that are holding you where you are today, right? And you'll learn to, over the 6 weeks, reprogram your subconscious mind and shift your emotional state, align your life with your true self, with who you really, really are deep down in your true purpose. And you'll be supported every step of the way, not just by Debbie and myself, but by the whole community of people who are like-minded individuals seeking to become their best selves, and they're on the same journey. So if you're ready to stop being frustrated and feeling unfulfilled, and letting your fears hold you back, and you're ready to have the life that you've been dreaming of, Debbie and I invite you to join us on this journey. Let's, take that step and have a conversation.
Yeah. And we want to thank you for being here today. It is about the journey, and it's not, I mean, it's a 6-week program. But the journey doesn't stop there. This is
No.
really a great place to get you going. We're going to be back next week with more insights, more support, and more tools to help you on your path to transformation. Remember, those doubts and fears are a part of the journey. They don't need to define you. You define yourself.
Excellent. Thank you, everyone, for being here, and I look forward to seeing you next week as well. Have a great night.
Bye now.